Greetings, everyone. DFG here. Hey, guys. I know a lot of you guys are probably starting to feel somewhat optimistic that some of these states and cities are starting to reopen, and of course, your hope and your sense and your desire for a sense of normalcy that is so strong seems to be right on the verge of coming back into reality. Well, guess what, guys? Don't be so quick to think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to share with you, first of all, an article. And I want you to really reflect on this article. And yes, it is an opinion, but it's an educated opinion and something that you should really think about because I know I'm thinking about it. In addition to that, I'm going to give you some scripture to go along with that. Okay? As you know, guys, we do it as Hebrew Israelites. Our history book is a key indicator to what is to come versus what is and what has been. Okay? And so, without further ado, and I'm going to try to keep this video pretty short, but this information is for you, and don't believe the hype. Okay, guys? Well, let's get right on into it. All right. Here we go. The economic collapse is going to get a lot worse. Don't expect your life to return to normal, guys. I'm telling you. I'm warning you, better said. It's not going to happen. The United States and other core imperialist countries haven't had socialist revolutions because the masses within them have been kept complacent. I would agree with that. Minimum wage jobs, average wage jobs, middle income jobs, middle class businesses. Keep pretty much enough to just eat, pay your bills, go on vacation, and start all over again. Complacent. Okay? They have directly or indirectly benefited from the exploitation of colonized people, meaning those who were enslaved and those whose countries were colonized. The islands, in slavery, Africa, colonization, United States, a combination of colonization and enslavement of the people. Okay? That's how these economies were built. All right? Do your homework, as I always say. Even as inequality has increased in the last generation or so, this has let the system keep them from taking action. In other words, you're inactive because you got just not give them food and give them entertainment, and the people will not riot. That is true. That is a part of a documented concept or mindset on how to keep the masses complacent, how to keep the masses impotent. Okay, all right. Just give them food and entertainment, and they'll be just fine. So they've been told that they need to be loyal to their country, make America great again, that they can get ahead if they try, that capitalism gives them a better lifestyle than socialism in this world. Now, if you know anybody that knows anybody that's doing anything with anybody, it's all about who you know or that you know somebody, if you're going to get to the top of the food chain. Capitalism is a bald-faced lie sold to a bunch of uninformed, immature, unengaged, you follow me, individuals who just believe peace and safety and everything's going to be all right, as those many right now who are thinking, again, things about to go to some sense of normalcy. It's not going to happen. Good statement here. What happens when the comforts of the American people are taken away? As the country passes into the greatest economic unraveling in a century, the system is being confronted with the possibility that a consciousness shift will happen. To create this shift, we'll need to accept that the system isn't going to take us out of our hardship. We won't get back to decades-low official unemployment levels from earlier this year or the relative prosperity of the 1990s, or the large American middle class of mid-20th century. Our living standards, which have been declining for decades under neoliberalism, are going to keep going down. That is so true. Inflation goes up. Did your wage go up? Did you get a pay increase? Did your salary go up? Did your salary keep up with the price of a loaf of bread over the last 10 years, or a bag of potato chips, or a bottle of soda? You know the answer to that. Absolutely not. This is why the Trump White House is trying to convince people that things will turn around, claiming that the economy will recover rapidly after the quarantines end. Bullcrap. In reality, this is far from the worst that conditions will get. And right now, they're far worse than the government admits they are. You're talking about food shortages. You're talking about resource shortages. You're talking about, poverty. You're talking about mass diseases, famine all over the globe, not just here in America. You're talking about countries, China, for example, that produces about 80% of the things that we consume, has already said verbally that they are not giving us anything. Why do you think Trump is now trying to blame China for the coronavirus? He needs a reason to provoke a war so that we can invade China, and hopefully, after millions and millions are slaughtered in an unjust war, we can go in and steal their resources. Again, you follow me? It's the old, how you get shell games, what it is. The right word would be the Hegelian dialect. Problem, reaction, solution. You know what I'm saying? Who caused the problem? What should be the reaction? What is the reaction to the problem? And here's the solution. In other words, blame China so that we can go and attack China. When some of us had the same symptoms, the same illness that the coronavirus is displaying way back in November and December, including me. Long before this virus was told to us that it was in China in January, February. And I was living in New England at the time, and I got it. Could not eat, could not hold anything down, very hot, very sweaty, very weak, very nervously, very eyes. All I wanted to do was sleep. Anything I ate couldn't stay down one way or the other. I couldn't even drink water, guys. But because, again, of a good diet and being healthy and taking good care of myself, you follow me, I was able to work through it. So this lie and narrative that this thing started in January, don't believe the hype. That coronavirus was in the United States as far back as early December. I guarantee you, because I had it. All right, how about that? But that being said, let's get right back, to the message at hand. While the Trump White House is trying to convince people that things will turn around, claiming that the economy will recover rapidly after the quarantines end, in reality, this is far from the worst that the conditions will get. And right now, they're far worse than the government admits that they are. Around 40 million Americans are unemployed. I remember talking about this a year ago when the unemployment was in the thousands or tens of thousands, and saying that this thing was going to escalate and it was going to be millions because all of these companies land people. And I remember people saying, oh, he's just talking. Don't believe what he says. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The economy is great. 40 million. What do you got to say about that, you naysayers? What do you have to say about that? You didn't know what you were talking about then, and you don't know what you're talking about now, and you need to spend some time listening to those who take the time to hear from Yah and also do their own study and their research. Our book tells us to study to show yourself approval, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly diverting the words of Yah. How about that? But you liars and deceivers, this peace and safety, everything's going to turn back to normal. You don't know what you're talking about. Based off of what? What the White House is telling you? What the social media, what mainstream media is telling you? That's what you're basing it on? The same people who told you, a month ago that 250,000 Americans were going to die from the coronavirus? Those people? People who shut down a whole nation and now got everybody now enslaved, at least psychologically, mentally, walking around afraid to be around other people? Because these same people are telling you that somehow or another this virus is going to jump 6 feet? Just out of the clear blue sky. If the virus, who measured it? Now see, I'm going to put this down. Who measured how far the virus can jump? Dr. Fauci? That little 4 feet idiot who changes his narrative every other day? Who told you that? Liars. And now these liars are telling you that everything is going to go right back to normal once we get the country open back up. Oh, really? Well, tell me something. What about all these pigs that were slaughtered because they couldn't get to the market? What about all these cows that were slaughtered because they couldn't get to the market? What about all this milk that was thrown away because it couldn't get back to the market? What about all these vegetables and these crops that were destroyed and left in the fields to rot and farmed over because they could not get harvesters to pick it? So you mean to tell me all of these resources, billions and billions of dollars of resources that are no longer available to this country that somehow or another, is going to be available, where is it going to come from? There's only one time in the history of mankind that something came out of the sky to feed mankind. And that was manna feeding us, our people, in the wilderness after Moses, as you called him, had taken our people through the Red Sea on our journey to the land filled with milk and honey. Other than that, it had not happened. Since then, it hadn't happened. And guess what, my friends? It's not going to happen. And you can believe that. They can give us stimulus checks, not us, because I didn't get one, and I'm not looking for one. But they can give you stimulus check after stimulus check. What good is all the money in the world and there's no food to purchase anything with? All the food is so expensive you can't afford it anyway. Whatever little bit is available. Go walk in all of your markets right now. I'm talking about your food markets that are currently open. And you wait till these clothing markets are open and you start saying, hey, these are the same fashions that were in here in November. Where's the new summer stuff? There ain't going to be any summer stuff. Well, put it like this. There may be summer stuff because they may have been already in the pipeline. But I bet you there's not going to be any fall and winter stuff. So you guys who got your coats and your sweaters that you normally donate, every year, I tell you what, you better keep them or your body's going to freeze to death. Now, that's a little wisdom that's worth its weight in gold. So what kind of normalcy if you don't have resources? And this is not just in America, by the way. This is global. This issue is a global issue, guys. And even if you want to be optimistic in the American spirit, the fighting spirit of America, we can do anything because why? Because we're Americans. You still need resources. That's correct. You still need resources. So all your rah, rah, rock, go team, go team, go team, go. We can come back. When the score gets to be 50, to 7, and there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, game is over. This game is over. Now, I could go into the scripture and share this with you, but guess what? Y'all took me a different way. I'll come back in a later video and get into Revelations for you. And I'm going to go into chapter 13. And it's going to talk about the mark of the beast. It's going to talk about a lot of the things that some of you guys are very interested in. And how about getting, some insight from much study, from 30 years of study by myself around these scriptures, around our words, and see what Yah has to tell me to bring forth to you for your own teaching, learning, reflection, and study. It ought to be pretty interesting, I suspect. But at the end of the day, guys, don't believe the hype. These guys are lying to you. As I said to you before, if you have resources, invest your resources in the food that is available. You go in these markets right now. And I told you guys, I run. In other words, when I say run, I'm in charge of a $70 million business that services most of your food service outlets, including restaurants. And I'm telling you, we have no meat, no beef on the counters. We have no pork on the counters. We have no chicken on the counters. And in an environment that it was so much product, we almost end up in a situation where we have to mark things down because we had so much. We don't have it now. We're rationing everything down to 1 per customer, 10 to a business. Businesses that need to have those resources when they open back up, guess what, guys? We don't have the product to give to them. So when you go to those same restaurants, guess what you're going to find out? They don't have the product either. And not only that, the prices have gone up 200-300% on some of that merchandise. So your $10 meal is going to cost you $20. So that $1,200 stimulus check you got is going to be worth about $400 when the product finally gets back to the market because of inflation and deflation of your dollar. Now, how about that for some information? Prepare yourself, guys. It's about to get rough out here. It's about to get rough out here. And don't listen. The scripture said, let the wise will understand, as Daniel said, and they will, and take precautions. But he said the wicked, they're going to keep on doing wicked. And there's a bunch of wicked folk out here. They wake up with wicked thoughts and wicked ideas. They go to bed with wicked thoughts. All they can think about is hatred and bitterness towards other people and never thinking and taking the proper steps and precautions to make sure that they can do the things that are in their power to do in a very just and upright way, letting Yah lead them. They're so busy, like Yah said, get the damn dirt out of your eye before you tell somebody else about the dirt that is in their eye. That way you can see clearly and be prepared. There you have it. Strong, truth, hardcore. DFG. Bye now.